I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon. If you were, in the good spirits and was able to join us this morning, hey, great. It was me filling in for Mr. OC. And no, it's not a rerun or replace the normal slot for Talk Today. And I'm here hopefully having an opportunity for you to have your say. So give us a shout, 949-8037, or a flow toll-free call at 1-800-534-8255, as we invite you to be a part of our Talk Today discussion. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, Mike. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for what I think is truly a privilege, an honor, and a direct and distinct pleasure to be able to sit, hopefully to facilitate, hopefully encourage you, hopefully to give you courage to share responsibly and respectfully. If you're going to champion something or if you're going to challenge something, we do so in a democracy to make it healthier, make it safer. That coffee is getting to me quickly. When you don't drink something often, don't drink it, a whole lot of it beforehand. I will say good afternoon and not good morning. Double shot of espresso sometimes goes too far, too fast, too quickly. But hey, it's a good Friday and I get a chance to recover come Monday, God's willing. But listen, why don't we share? Why don't we be a part of what's happening? And why don't we, as I had a chance to listen to both Mr. Arden McLean as the opposition leader, constitutionally recognized position. Now his deputy, Mr. Alva Saku, and I had the honor to sit in for Mr. OC and host this morning's show. Many of us, we're up earlier than most, so we probably don't sleep as much as we should. And even though we are not deprived of sleep often, maybe more than we recognize, when we're not in our normal sort of setting, we realize how easy it is to become comfortable in our own settings. So it's good to kind of step out of that and have a chance to listen. But those who follow politics, whether they are aspiring politicians, former politicians, or they are active, engaged voters, electors, they see the brilliance, the maneuvering, they see the notion that politics is in everything, and in everything there's politics. Whether you're part of the church, the PTA, whether you sit in some sort of social setting, whether you are part of some service organization, or even the office politics. But there were a few things that were said this morning that were certainly very striking. And of the many things that were said, perhaps two maybe will resonate with us. Mr. McLean's comments that, Mr. Saku's as well, that as 19 elected individuals, they pass legislation, make amendments to legislation, that because of the robust, financial services industry that we have, those laws can impact the lives of hundreds of millions of people. Now, for some of us, we take it for granted. Yeah, of course, an instrument that is on the books here within our, financial regulatory regime may be used to purchase an aircraft, for instance, that ferry people around the globe, that is owned by a multinational corporation that employs hundreds of thousands of people. Or it may be an investment vehicle that is used and as an investment tool for others as part of their retirement fund. So when you think of that sort of impact, perhaps for some of us we go, wow, I didn't see that. And I give us an example. Again, you guys can weigh in, but I want you to equally share your thoughts on a number of things. Not just support, not just pro, not just anti, but constructively, critically assessing what I had been said, what is probably not being said, what is implied, what is being to some extent, as someone shared with me earlier, what is being avoided. We don't want to say that because we don't want to, to offend. We don't want to be perceived as, and you fill in the blanks. But then the notion that, as some of you have shared, we see, just use Canada as an example. Was it last August? Canada says we're going to legalize or decriminalize. To be honest with you, I didn't follow it. I don't know which one they did. The personal use of ganja, marijuana, cannabis, whatever term is given. But we hear from people in the financial services sector that if they had, and I use the word mutual fund, maybe there's some other term that's applied to the industry. Been a long time that I've been a part of that. Didn't have much interest in being in it then, even less now. But if that vehicle is a vehicle which people can subscribe to and earn a lot of money, presumably our monetary authority won't allow the registration of such a fund. Is that what we want? Should that be amended? Just a thought. Number of other questions I want to pose to us. Equally, another comment that Mr. McLean made in relation to a question about the government's response to the People's Initiative referendum. But before we do, is there a caller in the queue, Miss Susan? Is that what you're telling me? Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hey, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, it's good to hear you in the morning. Even better to hear you in the afternoon.
Okay. You're speaking about 19 representatives.
Yes, sir.
Representing the people of the Cayman Islands. And supposedly doing things for us that need to be done.
Right.
Well, there are a lot of things I see that needs to be done that the government isn't doing and isn't showing any interest in getting done.
Okay.
First of all, that is collecting concessions.
Right.
Second of all, building trade schools for our young people. Third of all, trying to get a pension fund in order for the government to be able to put towards people's pensions when we get old and retire. And also hurricane shelters that we need here in this country. And then the immigration department continues to renew work permits over and over and over again. That people end up becoming residents. And then from that they end up becoming status holders. And then from that they continue to hire their own people from their own country or from other countries and continue not to hire Caymanians. And our own Caymanians who are employed with some of these companies are turning down our young Caymanians also.
Mm-hmm.
And if our young people aren't able to get work, how are they going to buy a piece of land? How are they going to go to the bank and get a mortgage to build a home or to buy a home?
True. And if you have a minute, given that I understand there are no other callers in the queue, I certainly don't want to rush you, but I don't want to be overly dismissive or any others. You referenced the trade schools. Could I ask, do you think that it would be somehow possible that within our, for want of a better word, our traditional normal schools that we have a section, a department, an area where students, whether they are very, very good at math and science and geography and economics and other things, or whether they say, we learn a different way, we have interest in other things. Do you think that we could have that area within the school that allow for the traditional trades and the technical and vocational training, or do we need to have a very dedicated, specific building separate and apart from the quote-unquote normal traditional schools?
Yes, we have to do this in a professional way.
No, I fully agree. But does it have to be a separate facility, or could it be part and parcel of the normal school where, and I'm just thinking out loud, so I help you to guide me. So let's say you take a student, one student who may say at some point, down the road, I think I want to be a physician. In fact, I want to be a surgeon. So there's a woodwork class, and they can go and they can take the coping saw and they can carve the birds and the different boats and the different things just to practice their sort of skill with their hands. Or there could be another student who says, my grandfather was a renowned boat builder and I have this penchant for wanting to be a a naval architect or a marine engineer or a craftsman, and can get into the woodwork, for instance, so that in that school the student isn't identified as being streamed in this area or streamed in that. Everybody and anybody can go and do the classes, whether it's in the culinary arts, whether they're wanting to learn how to sew, whether they want to learn a little plumbing, electrical, block laying. Can that exist within the same school for all the students?
The trade schools?
The trade school.
Yes, Dwayne, trade schools are able to learn people anything. I just saw on the news the other day, a 70-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
His wife got sick. They were having financial problems, and that man went to trade school to learn how to do welding steel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he just graduated at 70 years old.
Yep, so take up another career even when some would see that you're retiring and should be retired. He's taking on something else.
Yes, and in Jamaica they have professional trade schools, Dwayne.
Mm-hmm.
In Philadelphia they have professional trade schools.
Right.
Why is it in Cayman that we continue to try to throw everything on the private sector, who are only able to take on so many students at one time?
Mm-hmm. Right. I hear you, and I guess I was looking at something second to this, but first then trying to figure out whether, and looking at the resources and allocation of resources and even physical space, whether we needed to have, in setting up the trade schools, whether we need to have something separate, physical or distinct, or whether it could be part and parcel of the same campus, if you follow me.
Dwayne, government is just being whatless, Dwayne. Just being whatless and not doing what they're supposed to do for Caymanians, but yet they're up in the assembly building collecting a big check every month, buying up all kind of land for them and their children and their grandchildren. And our young people can't even get work to even buy one piece of land. Their mothers and fathers can't get work to buy a piece of land to give them. Government is just whatless, Dwayne.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it is without question a need that we should, as you shared, whether you're 70 or 17 or you're, at the age of 7 and just starting school, being able to be introduced to as much as possible and given those skill sets, given those opportunities to develop it. What else you want to share with us?
That's all for right now.
Yeah,
I'll call you back later if I need to.
Of course, man. The phone line is there, and if you pay for it, that's fine. If you, avail yourself of the Flow toll-free line, even better. 949-8037. Thank you very much for your call, sir. Or toll-free at 1-800-534-TALK. It's open line. Now, are you going to call and challenge what is being said? You're going to champion something? Are you going to say, hey, you know what we're not talking about? Well, it could be a lot. So I want to hear from you. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Hey, are those new glasses on Will?
Yeah, we went to Optical Outlook. Wham, bam, easy exam. Finally, an exam he could pass. And we had the glasses the next day. Easiest part of our back-to-school shopping for sure.
Book your child's eye exam today at Optical Outlook. Call 746-2020. Get half off a complete pair of glasses with any student's eye exam, now extended to September 14th. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook, located in Caymanian Village.
Terms and conditions apply.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today.
Did you know that once properly sanitized, some tinned food items may still be safe for consumption after coming in contact with floodwater? In order to properly sanitize these tins, always remove labels and then wash tins in a strong detergent solution using a brush to get rid of excess impurities. Tins must then be immersed in a solution made of 2 tablespoons of chlorine bleach per gallon of water for 10 minutes. Ensure that containers are air-dried before opening. For more post-hurricane food safety tips, visit the DEH website at deh.gov.ky.
For the Health of It is heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. It is brought to you by Holy Cross Hospital. Quality medical care and advanced technology with sincere compassion and understanding. Our mission is you. Call 1-954-351-5906 or visit Holy Cross Hospital at holy-cross.com.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. It is Talk Today as we invite you to be a part of our discussion. 949-8037, 949-6990. Well, what is on your mind? Certainly want to hear from you as we go into the weekend. Now, if you were able to be with us, and I'm glad and hopefully you were able to, this morning as we discussed some of the issues affecting the face in the country with the Honourable Opposition Leader and his Deputy, shared earlier that there were a number of things that were said, and a couple in particular that sort of still resonates from the comments that a few of you have already shared. So it shows not only that one, we're listening, and despite having that one-eye monster take its toll on us and our eyes, and sometimes our willingness to think and act independently, sometimes just listening through the radio, you find how actively engaged and how challenging it can be to truly listen. You don't have to see, sort of listen and see with your ears, as it were. But when we asked Mr. McLean in relation to, and his comments in respect to the government's response to the People's Initiative referendum, hey, it shows that as a people we have very, very, very involved electors and a wider populace that now, as yet, may not qualify as being registered voters, but are certainly concerned with the direction of the country. It doesn't mean that they are going in direction A or direction B. It just means that they are concerned about the direction in which the country will go, not just for the next 4 years and not just for this administration or the next, but for future generations. And I think we all have to be mindful that if we can, as inferring from Mr. McLean's comments, if we can have a collective national vision that is for, again, inferring from his comments, for the greater long-term good of all of us, then we'll have a healthier, stable, more secure, successful society. With that in mind, well, what are your thoughts? Now, a number of you have shared your views from today's comments on the show this morning in relation to traffic. Let me just quickly read one sentiment that came in that was intended, I believe, for this morning's discussion, but I asked the listener who shared the sentiments that you forgive me for not accessing it earlier. So if I can make the font a little bit bigger, hold the screen a little further from my eyes, and hopefully my arms aren't short enough, hopefully they're long enough I can see it. Let me read what this listener had to share. It says, some 3 decades ago, I responded to a survey by expressing the opinion that we need to be considering limiting by law the size and the number of motor vehicles in Cayman. So this was a survey this person says, about 3 decades ago. Now it says, I still hold to that. So such a measure would be no less, in fact, more sensible today. Of course, we would need to put more resources in place to improve public transportation. We would need attractive, efficient little buses like the kind operate in a country, for example, like Switzerland, maybe even electric, non-pollutant vehicles, which charge reasonable fares. And of course, passengers would expect that such buses would arrive and depart so punctually that a person could set, the watch by them. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Would you use such a facility if it was available? Would you be willing to give up your personal vehicle full time, maybe part time? Maybe you say every Friday or every Monday you take the public transport. Now I emphasize that simply because I recognize that a number of you have said on the air a few times, but very much otherwise, that what we have here as public transport isn't really public transport as they know it, and they've come from countries in Europe, even in parts of North America, like where there is public transport, and with that, there's a particular expectation, a particular sense of how this thing is run. But nonetheless, we could develop our own using whatever model we think is best, but a reliable, safe, efficient, cost-effective system that moves people back and forth with a degree of reliability and punctuality, as that last sentiment expressed. Now, we'll continue with some of the thoughts. Let's read this particular listener's perspective. Say in my homeland, in secondary school we did woodwork, metalwork, technical drawing, and home economics. Then there was a separate technical school for studies during and after secondary school. So I appreciate that listener's perspective. I think some of us who went through what was then the Cayman Islands High School recall that there was a section where there was woodwork and metalwork and home economics, technical drawing, and other similar programs, just like this listener's sentiments. Now, unlike what this listener shared, having a separate sort of technical school, we probably had something similar to that within the community college, later UCCI. Do we need to develop it? Now, do we need to look at it, as I was asking the call earlier, so that all of us in school at an early time could get introduced to some of these areas, so that you start to realize that, hey, you know what, I like math, and I like geography, and I like science, and I like this, but boy, I wouldn't mind being an engineer. And you can get your qualifications, a degree that is respected and recognized internationally, and you go out and you become, perhaps a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer, but you still have this thing that if you were working somewhere, on Grand Cayman, or you were in Germany, or you were in, some other part of the world as part of a missionary effort, that your degree carries with it a sense that people who see it would recognize that you must have demonstrated some level of proficiency, and they can have some level of confidence in your competence, as opposed to what some of you have alleged has happened over the years here. Person comes out, we make it difficult for them to get trained up, to get apprenticed, whatever the word we use, and then after they get it, they can't find employment because for some reason we don't want to hire them, but then the thing that they have isn't really worth the paper it's printed on, because we don't really teach them anything. They learn how to take two wires and twist it together, as one fellow says to me all the time, but they don't understand any more than that, because we're unwilling to train them. Some of us are unwilling to take the time to learn. Now, I believe we have done a disservice over the years, if you forgive me for my personal sentiment here, but we have somehow said to the people, oh, there's no future in that, there's no money in that, and only the dumb people do that. Well, my view is, respectfully, the people that you see work on the boat engines and the car engines and do plumbing, electrical, and carpentry, they're probably smarter, or certainly no less so, than our doctors and our engineers and our accountants and everybody else. They just have a different way of demonstrating their competence. Now, end of the day, you got a fellow who, she comes to your house as the electrician and wires it up for you. You want to know that person is doing a good job, just like the person who lays the pipes and plumbs your house, just like the person who installs your windows and doors, just like the person who interested to do surgery on your heart, your brain, your limbs. Hopefully, just like the person you've employed to do your will, to prepare your contract, to do whatever. We want that level of competence. Would you not also want that person to have that piece of paper that if they were traveling somewhere because they want more experience, they want to sharpen their expertise, they decide they want to change the scenery, they could present that piece of paper and say, well, okay, I may have to satisfy your licensing and registration requirements, but at the very least, I have this thing that says that I'm a qualified mechanic, I'm a qualified whatever the area is. Why do we distinguish between and make our children believe, and so therefore their parents encourage, oh no, we don't want you in that area because there's no respect in that, you're not making the money in that, when the contrary is really not the case as it is, right? Well, your thoughts, take us to task. Not because we say it, not just because you heard it means it's so. You may have a different view. 949-8037, 949-6990, or with the kind compliments of flow, shout us on the toll-free line, 1-800-534-8255. You know what? I might just say what Miss Susan told me to say, but I'll wait for a little bit longer to say, hey, we're here because we want you to be a part of what is said and shared, not because we like to hear our sounds of our voice. We're not like some in other places, right? Ready for the... What are we doing, Miss Susan? Go to the phones? Yeah, she's the boss, in case you forget it. Let me remind you. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hi, good afternoon.
How are you?
So, in terms of the jobs in different areas, I think we can start from time they're young. For example, education standards. I'm a homeschool mom.
Good for you.
And I've seen many, many different curriculums. And lately I've been encountering this a mere out school curriculum where they use your interests and they teach the children different things like writing, using Pokemon, for example. Because kids will learn according to their interests, right? So I have an older son who's always wanted to be an electrician. So from the time he was 1, I got a block, I got the receptacles, I got the wires, I got the drill, and I put him to work, and that's how he learned to write.
There you go.
Because he would use the screwdriver, screw in screws, and screw them back out. Then he would wire and make his own circuit. Wow. And this is how he learned. And right now, he was working for Britt Hay, and he did so well that they're happy to keep him on. And his passion is diving, so he's continued. But it opened the door for him. So what you can do in schools is we have so much teachers, we have so much schools, we have such a vast variety of options right now.
Right.
That you can have children who learn by audio, have them do their schooling through audio. Then you can have children who are learning kinesthetic, which is those with the hands. You can teach them kinesthetic. Those who are visual, teach them visual. And I think our country would do better for it instead of you having children in the unit.
Exactly.
And I think that would make a difference,
Yeah, I commend you for it. And some people don't realize the sacrifice of moms, parents like you who invest so heavily and have their children homeschooled is exceptional. Now, as you were sharing, the notion that we now know that there are multiple intelligence, differentiated learning. We use all these terms, but we don't realize how challenging it is to make sure that our children learn. If I may share with you, a parent relayed to me just recently, similar to what you're saying. The child is doing a particular subject, let's say English, has to write essays, and I'm using my terminology and composition and stuff. Got to read and got to do this thing, and not enjoying it. But the child gets involved in, say, drama and play production, and is doing all these things, but enjoying it because they don't see it as doing homework. Don't see it as if they have to read and research and then write and then present. But because of their interest, they're now doing these things and learning how to write properly and how to do the screenplays and how to do probably even more than they would normally if the teacher told them, well, go write 2 sentences about, something that happened in England, for instance.
Exactly. And for example, I've seen this team of Merrill School where they're offering website building and different things. And if you really think about it, even using Minecraft to do architecture, these are simple things. It may sound stupid to us older folks, but if you take the things that they're interested in, they learn the same lessons you want to teach them without them even struggling. And they're like, oh, that was easy. And they'll move on to something else.
Yep. And it's something that I believe for some of us, we see it because we're in tune. For us, we don't recognize it and appreciate its value. You take the teacher, whether it's the homeschool mom, whether it's the child in the class where that teacher invests heavily. How do we support those people to make it that child gets the very best of that educational opportunity? We seem to pigeonhole our children so quickly and label them that it's a wonder that they move beyond tying their shoelaces.
That is true. I have a nephew he's 11. He goes to school. He gives nothing but trouble, but he's one of the best artists you can find. And if you take him and you teach him through art, I'm willing to bet he'll be one of the smarter kids.
But I hear you, and I'm thinking sometimes, not to speak to your nephew, but I'm thinking sometimes that some of those same children, we unfortunately don't understand that they already got this thing. They're bored with it, perhaps. They're no longer interested in it. And like you said, if you could help them to learn in a different way, speak to them in their style, in the language that they understand, they would be exceptional. There was a friend of mine in school with us. I think he was one of the smartest children I ever met. Not just because he got top grades, not just because he did a perfect score in his SATs and what have you, when we didn't even know what that was. But probably one of the most disruptive children around, because before we started, he was finished. Right?
Yeah, that's true. We have a few.
Yep. Well, anything else you want to share with us?
No, that's it. That's just an opinion from a homeschool mom.
Well,
I mean,
congratulations.
you can take it at whatever value you want, but
Yep. Well, commend you for it.
It would be worth it.
Definitely. I want to encourage you in it, and hopefully you'll get the support and assistance that you need from those around you, whether it's employer, whether it's spouse, whether it's family. Invest in their children. It's the best thing we can do.
Yep.
Have a great weekend, all right?
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. With that, we'll pause and take a break because the boss, that's Miss Susan. You know, just take home, You know who's in charge. You might think it's somebody else, but she's the boss right now. Call and share your thoughts with us, man. A word that is not spoken is a word that is not heard. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
I'm going to Vamp Motors to test drive the new 7-seater Rush.
They have some really sweet deals going on now, not true?
Yep, on SUVs. And they sweeten the deal by giving you a warm oven-baked cookie with each test drive.
Better test drive more than one, just to be sure.
Take a test drive for a sweet surprise this month at Vamp Motors. Test drive any SUV and receive a freshly baked cookie. It's our way of saying thanks for dropping by to check out our huge sale on every SUV in stock. Save up to $4,400 during Vamp's summer SUV sale. That's every SUV in stock on sale for thousands off or cash back. Sweeten the deal only at Vamp Motors, Walkers Road.
The Cayman Islands Cancer Society presents Conquering Cancer 6. Let's fight cancer together. This event will offer you information about new and innovative ways of screening, diagnosing, and treating cancer. Come and learn from the top medical professionals from leading healthcare providers from near and far. The event takes place at the Marriott Beach Resort the 21st of September. This interactive health fair is free to the public of all ages and will include free healthcare screenings for glucose level, blood pressure, BMI, and cholesterol, as well as free health food samples.
Hi, my name is Neraya LeBlanc. I am the ministering evangelist to the West Bay Church of Christ on 24 Batabano Road. I would love to take this opportunity to invite you to experience God's family at West Bay for yourself. We are a caring congregation that strongly believes in reaching out beyond ourselves to spread the gospel of Christ. We also take great pleasure in ministering to the needs of our people in our community. As God's called out kingdom people, we are in the business of transforming lives for the Master's use. For more information, you can visit our website at westbaycichurchofchrist.org or call us at 946-9294 or 917-1809.
Declaring the word of the Lord.
Cayman Islands Church of Christ presents Word of the Lord.
Word of the Lord, heard Sundays at 6:30 p.m. on Radio Cayman.
The Breeze Fusion is back Saturday, November 2nd.
Bigger and better.
Now featuring a 5K walk run and a 10K run for half marathon trainers. Join the fun and help raise funds for the Central Scranton Park and the NCVO. Save the date or register now at CaymanActive.com or at Radio Cayman Studios. Registration is only $15 if registered by September 30th. And all early registrants enter to win a Cayman Airways voucher.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Saturday, November 2nd.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. It is Friday, and for some, we look at the calendar and go, ooh, Friday, and then there's the 13th day of the month, and they have all sorts of, particular feelings and sentiments. Well, I think make the day a blessing. If you can't find a way to be blessed in the day, perhaps you can find a way that you can be a blessing to others. 949-8037, 949-6990, and we go to our phones. Good afternoon, you're on Talk Today.
Hi, good afternoon, Your Lordship. This is Lucille. This is Lucille Seymour. You know, what interests me is that what happened 100 and so years ago becoming a fact with parents. There's a lady by the name of Susan Isaacs who wrote for children years ago, over 100 years ago. And she wrote a book, Children Learn from Their Experiences. Mm-hmm. But she wrote it from a parent's perspective. And when we became teachers, we used it as from a teacher's perspective. But what I want to say is that the parent is the first teacher. And therefore, exposure to experiences enhances his learning or her learning when they go to school. So the whole question of homeschooling is not a new thing. And if I can quote myself, I was reading before I went to school. Mm-hmm. School age was 7, but my mother put me in at 6 because I could read, because at home my brothers and sisters and my mother helped me to read. So I want us to remember how important parents are, that they're the first teachers and you learn from their experiences. For example, that whole question of doing chores and working with your parents when they're doing things like helping with the garden and cleaning and doing those things, that is to give experiences. I know my brothers, when my father came home, he used to cook, and my brothers were helping with that, and they became cooks. They all could cook. So I want us to look at things in a different perspective, that parents place so much importance in a child's learning. And all a teacher is in loco parentis. A teacher is in lieu of parent. But the teacher only extends as much as the parent has given. And as a matter of fact, when you have given your child more, the child learns much better. And I just want us to remember this, that all our parents who were in years ago 100, and I am 75 years old and on Monday, and I learned from homeschooling. So it's not a new thing, and it's not. We don't have to pay a lot of money or get so excited about it, because this is a parent's duty. Right. And I want us to know that. And I thought I would call in, and I'm happy that the young lady, I shouldn't say young lady, but the lady did make a point how important teaching from home is.
So true. But if I could ask you though.
Sorry, sir.
Sorry, Mom. Only because, we all know, love and respect you and recognize, not just your contributions, but your continued contribution. Why is it then that seemingly, it may be this way globally, but certainly in the Cayman context, that we seem to attach a stigma to homeschooling, to the parent in particular taking an active interest in the child's education?
No, because it's not that it's lost of perspective, it's become a very commercial enterprise. Some of the homeschooling that I know, parents still pay teachers to come and teach their children.
Exactly. But I think
that is where the missing of homeschooling is, and I hold anyone to that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to share with you, right, if you would allow me, and it's only because, and I make no apologies for this, or I don't care whether it's, someone dispatched with the Queen, or whether it's, one other person that would matter would be my mother. When it comes to education, there is no excuse for any other than, complete and total devotion and involvement and a demand for excellence from parent, pupil, and everybody else, right? A parent related to me just the other day. I was off for a couple of weeks, and the new school year started back, and the parent came and asked, I guess, for want of a better word, some advice and some guidance. Presumably, over the last school year, the parent has got even more involved in this particular child's education for different reasons, right? To be, again, I can use my interpretation, Miss Lucille, I want you to guide me, Mom. To be summoned by the school over the summer to a conference about the parents' involvement in the school. And I had to ask, well, is it that you coming in demanding certain things? The answer was no. Are you coming in there, disruptive and, the like? No. What has happened is that the parent has seen where if the parent had the financial resources and the school was amenable, the parent could hire some sort of outside aid to come in and assist the child. But the parent now had, done that independently as, directed by the teacher. Presumably, Miss Lucille, the teacher that was there, who was very instrumental in assisting in getting the child up to where the child needs to be, is no longer there. Don't know the circumstances, not to get into it. But the school is saying, we're not going to want this because, we don't think that you're a teacher and we need to leave the teaching to the teachers, I'm thinking, but you're paying for this one way or the other. Where is the parent's responsibility and involvement, and why can't that commitment be recognized as I see it? But am I misguided?
I mean, in my day, that happened. It happened to the Lighthouse School.
Yes, ma'am.
I think still now, when parents who have children with challenges, they take their caregivers and they take different people. Now, I don't want to get into the policies of the department or anything.
No, ma'am, me either.
But I know when I was a principal, I was a hard lady because to me, parentage is so important. I will go to your workplace and tell your boss that you have to come to a PTA meeting or to where I have to give the reporting session.
Yep.
I'm very, very, very demanding on it, and I don't give any excuses because I was brought up by a single parent, and I know how hard she worked to make me where I am. And I am not going to make anybody think that parents must get away because, and it's all because, and I have to say, listen, we can't blame the parents too because, when I was growing up, my mother worked, but not all parents worked. My mother was exceptional. She worked in the hospital, but my friends' parents didn't work because that was the economic standing of the day. Today, both parents have to work. But this is not exceptional in Cayman. It is so in the international world that both parents work. But both parents have to come together along with the school to see exactly how is it that we are going to cater to their child or their children. This is how it was in our day. And I don't think it is so different from in other parts of the world. If you think of one of the most outstanding education countries in the world is Korea. You listen to how they do their thing, and it's a lot on the parents. It's a lot of it is on the parents. The school system has a certain amount of things to do with the children, but the child has to go to school prepared. My mommy used to say, and that's been nearly 100 years ago, that it was her job to prepare me to go to school. That's what she told, and she was not an educated woman like the parent who just called in there.
Right.
And my mom tried to show us everything we could learn at home. And 90% of what I know, I learned it at home.
Well, that's it.
I learned to read, and I read to learn.
There you go.
But I just want us to say that homeschooling has been with us from anon.
Yep.
That we shouldn't make it. What I've seen in Cayman, sometimes it is very commercial, and we go out and we hire teachers to do homeschooling. To me, that is not the same thing as a parent homeschooling his or her child, and I stand to that very much.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm very convinced. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk about homeschooling. It's something that I'm passionate about, and about teacher, the place that parent is the first teacher that any child or children should have.
So true. Thank you, Miss Lucille, and I trust that people will take what you have to share. And when we come back from our news break, hey, continue to share your thoughts. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
For the second time this month, the Cayman Islands Fire Service responds to a fire at the Georgetown landfill. Officers from Central Fire Station were dispatched Thursday afternoon after a report of smoke near last week's fire. but officials say the fire is not a cause for concern. In international headlines, a fire races through a hospital in Rio de Janeiro, forcing staff to wheel patients into the street on beds or in wheelchairs. The fire killed at least 11 people, many of them elderly. 4 firefighters were also hospitalized after battling the blaze overnight at Badim Hospital, and about 90 patients were transferred to other hospitals. This according to the fire department today. Authorities say the cause of the blaze is under investigation. Actress Felicity Huffman is returning to court to be sentenced for her role in a sweeping college admissions bribery scandal. Desperate Housewives star is scheduled to appear in Boston federal court today after pleading guilty to a single count of conspiracy and fraud in May. She is the first parent to be sentenced among the 34 charged in the scheme. Huffman has admitted to paying $15,000 to boost her older daughter's SAT scores in 2017 with the help of William Rick Singer, an admission consultant at the center of the scheme. Prosecutors say Huffman's daughter was unaware of the arrangement. Prosecutors have recommended a month in prison along with supervised release and a $20,000 fine. Eddie Money has died at the age of 70. The former New York police officer became one of the top-selling rock stars of the 70s and 80s, with hits like 2 Tickets to Paradise and Take Me Home Tonight. A publicist announced that he died on Friday in L.A. He had just recently announced he had stage 4 esophageal cancer. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. It is Talk Today. Honored to be here and sit in the seat, and you can take the invitation to agree with me on certain topics. You want to challenge the thought process of our callers equally. Hey, this isn't for me, it's for you. Facilitated an opportunity to encourage open, frank, and very direct dialogue in a respectful, constructive manner. Hey, 949-8837 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Now, I make a lot of jokes and jests, and sometimes very seriously, nonetheless, about our willingness to embrace social media and the perils and pitfalls of it. But we know how it's being leveraged, sometimes manipulated, to influence elections, to influence public opinion, to even sometimes, what's the phrase? Alternate truth. No, I never understood that. Either is it true or it's not true. You know, you can not say something and imply it, but act and omission and commission always seem to be one and the same, you know. Well, I want you to act deliberately, consciously, and share with us. 949-8837 or toll free 1-800-534-8255. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
Man, listen, I'm telling you, I pray that every day I be not only more blessed, but more appreciative.
Dwayne, first I want to say publicly, thank you to the governor. He showed his drums skill in the Sunrise House, playing for the children, and that's something, very good.
Mm-hmm.
But today I just want to say something about, last call Mr. Johan Maxim made. Mr. Maxim, the one he say one day he want to be premier.
He did?
I don't know how premier of a country or so-called somebody want to be premier and, talking to people in this country by that language.
Before you go to, did Mr. Maxim say that he wanted to be premier? I mean, he might have, but I didn't hear. Where and when?
Before, use immigration department against me, and it not work with him. And it seems Mr. Johan is in the footsteps. You know, he threatened me with immigration department.
No, I beg you, Miss Susan, yeah.
Of Johan Maxim, and he go low, saying bad words about me in public radio station.
No, okay, with that in mind, I understand, and I want you to share. Sometimes, you know, we get vitriolic, sometimes we get petty and personal, but sometimes we just emotive. But stay on the line and engage me. But I understand from certain people that two things, and I could be wrong, it could have changed, and I don't know. Not only in respect to people generally, but presumably on our books, legislation indicate that if you're here and you're not, I guess what they say, a permanent resident or a registered elector, or if you're on a work permit, somewhere in that tone of language, that you're precluded from actively engaging in the politics of the country. Now, that's my understanding. I believe if you're here and you're living and working, I'd rather hear what you got to say publicly than for you to hide anonymously. So talk to me specifically now about the issues. I mean, what is your real beef with the scenario?
You see, first, Dwayne, I would like, before I answer you,
yes, sir,
publicly to thank the many calls I get yesterday from Caymanian people who tell me not to care much about what Johan says. And I thank the Caymanian people always for their support because they know I stand in with them. And the second thing, to answer you to your call, that in Cayman, there is nothing in the law and the Bill of Rights to prohibit me from saying my public opinion. And if we are a democratic country, and in Cayman, you are free to say your public opinion.
Right, but free speech has to be, what they say, that right should be balanced with a responsibility to be truthful, fair, and the like, right? Now, again, want to engage a little further, just because you said it, the calls you receive, I'll only speak to the calls publicly. I got hot water from different people because I'm accused of giving you too much leeway. So there are no people that may have called you, commending you. There have been public calls to this radio saying, man, this guy got too much time. Were you accommodating him? Were you encouraging him? And so on. So there are probably a number of people who probably would rather not have you speak publicly. I don't necessarily subscribe to that. And as a result, I get a couple licks for it.
Dwayne, look, you yourself, you will not find everybody like you, what you do in the program, and you will find the majority like you, and, I know the majority like you, but there's people don't like you. And that's normal thing in life, and I don't care if Johan Maxim and Mario Rankin don't like me. That's not a big deal.
But like and dislike, if I can interject, this one of the reasons why I absolutely can't tolerate this foolishness that they call social media, because we're seeing the perils that is placing upon our adolescents, like and dislike. They're doing all kind of stupidness, putting themselves at risk, getting themselves sometimes end up in a coffin because they're looking for likes. So for me, like and don't like, I really don't really matter. What I like is the fact a good piece of chocolate cake can be shared and enjoyed. What I like is when people are constructive and productive. They're looking at things in a way to help the greater good. The rest of it, I really don't matter. But from that perspective, are we driven too much by the emotive, or are we looking at it from the practical? How can we do things reasonably, responsibly, respectfully to help others who may not be at that time in the same predicament that we are?
You see, Dwayne, I call because I care about this country. I call about the people of this country.
Mm-hmm.
I always fight for the poor individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And, you will find people who have agendas, personal agendas like them. They're trying to stop people like me who have the strong voice in this country.
All right. Well, let me ask you then two things then, respectfully. Given the last sentiment, the agenda, but first the strong voice. Let's go with the phone. Do you think that your comments, as you said, you have a strong voice, you speak publicly, whether it's scripted, whether it's paid for, it doesn't really matter. Do you think that your comments are seen as divisive, destructive, vitriolic, sort of gauged to promote a certain agenda? Or is it this thing that is to encourage more dialogue and responsible debate?
No, that I do everything for their benefit.
Mm-hmm. Why do you feel that it's incumbent, it's necessary for you to take on that role?
You see, Dwayne, look, I have a daughter. She's Caymanian.
Mm-hmm.
When me dead and gone one day, after long life, with God permission, I want my daughter to live in a healthy, good democracy, good country. That's why I fight for the future of my daughter. I'm not fighting for myself. I can't fight for myself. I am a strong-willed person. But the new generation coming need to find something to fight for.
Okay. Now, with that, and I commend you for that, because there's a friend of mine who said a very, very long time ago, and I'm beginning to subscribe to his sentiments. You say you can attack him, he may or may not respond, but you attack his ability to protect and provide for his family, you find that it's like a mother protecting her cubs. Let me ask them, with that notion of that agenda, given the absence of trade unions and other similar organizations where people may align themselves, and as a result you get people coming out of those organizations being a part of the political sort of platform, do you think then that that's part of the reason why we're seeing other people now coming to the fore from different quarters, because we don't have those other things? So former civil servants becoming politicians, former presidents of the Chamber of Commerce, former, maybe PTA presidents, former church members. Those people, because of their roles, they're now becoming more public because their roles have positioned them to speak to certain issues.
You see, Dwayne, look, in Cayman, there is fair to speak, because there is people could hurt other people in their job and their life. I've been in that road. I've been in prison 4 days for no reason. I am putting a case against the police because they imprisoned me 4 days for no reason, and there is people lose their job because of that. I've been working one time in one place, and the two MLA went to the owner of where I work, and they try to fire me from where I work. That is how it is. It's bad politics in Cayman, unfortunately, and our democracy not to grow to the level where you see like the European Union or England or other places.
Right. Well, you know what? It is, I think, if we're going to have a healthy democracy, we need to be able to speak our minds, but we do so respectfully and understanding that there's going to be difference of opinion. Hey, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Always accept the invitation to join us. Now, let me not make Miss Susan too angry, and let's take her break. These breaks are good. It just shows you that our people are doing their jobs. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
We at The Wharf have the only multi-purpose conference room in Cayman, providing high-speed internet and all state-of-the-art audio and visual, and are now open and ready for your meetings and events. Multiple wireless microphones and Dolby surround speakers make your presentations on the giant screen clear and interactive. Imagine your meetings with a view, a full bar and kitchen on site where all your needs are cared for, just a few steps away from the Caribbean Sea. All F&B will be customized to your preference. Call 949-2231 or email info@wharf.ky to start planning your waterfront meeting now.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after,
BritK protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after,
visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
BritK, where people come first.
I can do this.
We believe in you.
Each day brings hope.
Every day, millions of people celebrate their recovery from addiction and mental illness while others begin their journey.
Be a part of it. Share your strength, support, and hope. Join the Voices for Recovery. Together, we are stronger.
Join the Voices for Recovery and attend one of our upcoming workshops to learn how you can support someone impacted by substance abuse. District workshops will be offered during the month of September in West Bay, Georgetown, and East End. For further information, contact the Department of Counseling Services at 949-8789.
Stay up to date with the latest in healthy living and fitness trends every Saturday morning at 9:30 and Wednesday at 7 p.m. For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Most clinics in the United States, they kind of like one surgery fits all. You're saying, that's not necessary. That's not going to be the case with me. And that's good to hear.
For the Health of It is proudly brought to you by
Cayman Fertility Center. Advanced technology to provide patient-certified fertility care. Call them at 233-0770.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Show your support for the scuba diving and water sports industry at the 2019 International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame Gala Induction Ceremony on Friday, October 4th at the Margaritaville Beach Resort. Tickets cost $75 pre-sold or $100 at the door, so get your tickets today. Tickets are available from the offices of the Department of Tourism and the Cayman Islands Tourism Association. The International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame Gala Ceremony, Friday, October 4th. Get your tickets now.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. It's open line as we take your calls. Hey, good afternoon and welcome.
How are you?
Not too bad, sir. Yourself?
Ah, boy, I tell you, I got a second leaf on life,
Amen.
And when you get that little chance, and I've been keeping myself quiet for a while, but I'm really getting a lot disturbed about a whole bunch of things that is happening in my beloved next door to heaven home.
Yes, sir.
And it is, it kind of getting to my roots, because been down here now for a little while with my family and what have you, walking around, exercising these wonderful bare feet. And a lot of things have been hitting on. Finally, a couple of young fellas, well qualified, highly professional young people, which are my families and friends. And they said to me, we can't get the work that what's happening here? All these people getting work permits and what have you, and this and that, when we can't get no work. And one of them looked at me and said, Uncle P, the worst thing for anybody to be in this country is a Caymanian. And I said to him, I have to ask Sterling a couple of questions. The first thing is, what is a Caymanian? And the second question that I want you and the public to answer me is not only what is a Caymanian, but who is a Caymanian? I'll call you back later as soon as I hear some answers to those questions, because I have some more solutions to our problem, including the port.
I respect your time, but if you would be willing, would you want to wage in and answer those questions to kind of get the public started?
If you want me to hang on the phone, is that it?
No, well, that too. But if the question was posed to you, what is a Caymanian? And the second, as you ask, who is a Caymanian? How would you respond?
Well, I would immediately tell you that if you look on the voters list, they are supposed to be designated as Caymanian.
Okay.
However, defining what is a Caymanian, I'll tell you. A Caymanian is a British overseas territory citizen who is a resident. Resident means home is the Cayman Islands. That is what is a Caymanian.
Okay.
Now, who is a Caymanian is the ones that fulfill that criteria.
All right. If I then could ask you, and only because he said it publicly, and I think is someone that we all know and respect and admire, not just for who he is, his historical perspective. Dr. Steve McFeel, right here in the studio one day, relayed a story that as a practicing attorney, now I'll exaggerate and laugh and kind of joke and jest and say he's been practicing 1,000 years before courts, right? We know that he's been there for many, many decades. He said that one day, not long ago, when he was going to renew, and I believe it's called his attorney's practicing certificate or whatever it's called, and he paid a couple of $100 or whatever the fee is, he was told that he needed to go to immigration to get a stamp on his passport to show that he's a Caymanian. Now, presumably, he's on the voters list as well. So if the voters list identifies us as a Caymanian, and he's been doing this for every year for the last 5 decades or however long, and coupled with that, parents have indicated that their students applying for particular scholarships through the government and otherwise had to do the same thing, even when they had passport, birth certificate, voter's ID and whatever, told that they need to go to immigration and get this stamp. It would seem that being on the voters list isn't in and of itself, in some people's minds and in certain circumstances, sufficient to say that you're a Caymanian.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
When it comes back, and I just heard the boy Weaver who said that he's so concerned of the people in this country, and I respect his concern because he came from an area. He married a Braca too.
Mm-hmm.
So I welcome him into this thing, and his opinions, of course, sometimes instead of being part of the solution, he ends up being a part of a problem. Because somehow or the other, we have always imported other opinions rather than take the opinions of those of us who are supposed to be Caymanians. And I mean when I say supposed to be Caymanians, because can you imagine someone now that was made in the Cayman Islands, untouched by human hands, but born somewhere else, and you can't help where you're born, You can certainly help where you live.
Mm-hmm.
So those of us who are living here, calling this home, better get off their ass and on their feet real quick, because a lot of things that's happening in this country that I can see some things with these young people, they're just getting riled up and riled up and riled up.
Yes, sir.
And apparently, the politicians not paying no attention to us. I know that.
Yeah. No, with that in mind, if I heard, and more important, if I understood your comment, those of us who live and work here and call this our home, whether we were born here, whether we're now Caymanian, but this is where our home is. How can we come together as a people to make it a better place, safer, make it a place where there's a degree of success, but it's stable and it's a society that we can move about freely without fear of some of the things that we see transpiring, not just in those parts of the world that we think are in turmoil, but even some of those places that we thought were first world and safe. Is there something that we can do that would make us a little bit more unified, whether we're Caymanian with generations behind us, or whether we just got Caymanian status this morning?
I've been turned away. And all they want is to say, look, I'm a Caymanian, I'm identity. Let me make a living in my own country that the Constitution demands.
Mm-hmm.
Why employ some carpenter from somewhere else and you got a Caymanian here that can do it? Instead, no, they're going to pay them some kind of cheap wages, and then turn around and say, can't hire Caymanian because when we lay these off, Caymanian get a job somewhere else. That's not the case, my dear friend. Caymanian, you're a Caymanian. The last person that they're going to employ in this country, I found out, is a Caymanian, including me myself. And I'm one of the greatest, best professional engineers that there is, including dredging engineer. I was the chief engineer on board the dredge Cayman that successfully made a piece of dredging and never left 1 ounce of silt. You wait till they start. If they do start that thing in Georgetown, I wonder what they're going to do with all that. I could stick here and stay here all day to give you the solutions to the problem. But I want other people now to come on board and answer me. Who is a Caymanian?
And what is a Caymanian?
And are Caymanians going to get off their feet or the butt that they're sitting on and on their feet and start standing up for the country?
Yes, sir.
Until then, I'll call you later, but I really want to hear what else is happening because other people won't get on as well, Sterling.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much for sharing, and hopefully it'll encourage other people to, as you've done, recognize that this is home. And if we don't work together collectively, don't mean that we all agree, but at least we have respect. So thank you very much, sir.
Anyway, before I go, I just want to say this. We have a bunch of people that is in the Bahamas right now that is hurting like hell, and it seems like they can't find a place to rest, and the children don't have a place for school or something like that. You remember after Ivan?
Yes, sir.
Cameron had 5,000 people on it. Cameron can still accommodate that many or more. What we should do is to offer those people, particularly the children and stuff like that, come on over here. While you rebuild, we'll relieve you of that pressure so that you can go back there. In other words, if we don't start helping them in humane way, we can send money, we can send this, we can send that. But what about the people that don't have a place to lay their head? Bring them here, man. You know, we can find ways of getting them there. We'll find ways of getting them here. All this government got to do is say, yes, we go open our doors to those poor people. And that will make Jesus smile. Thank you. Talk to you later.
God bless her. Thank you, too. And, you know, maybe we can take aboard what he shared. Be our brother's keeper. Is that a call to the phones? Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Hello.
Hey, afternoon.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
You know my brother Elvis here.
Oh, man, it's good to hear from you, sir.
Yeah, well, listen, the person did just now, but I thought he was going to bring up about the wicked ganja weed, but he never bring that up, so I had a call in about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said yesterday morning when you was on the show there, that Dr. Maxey, you were there. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
I said Dr. Maxey brought up the subject about that we need to talk and educate our people about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seemed to me like, well, I know the fire is lit now, but our politicians, well, one politician for sure stood up and said on the radio that from long time he supported decriminalization. That was Mr. Ezzard. And he said about the medical would be a different thing because, you know, you got to really get that together because when you're selling something for medicine, you have to get, you know, your labs and all of that together. You understand what I'm saying, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I called in this morning with speaking to the opposition leader and the deputy opposition, you know, about the same thing of decriminalizing marijuana for recreation and medicinal, right? Now, the leader of the opposition said that the government was making strides to you know, that it could deal with easement if you got caught. Listen, the only person that came out to try to help the Caymanians and that set was Judge Ramsey. She said, because I talked to this woman personally. I went in front of her in court and I talked to her plain down. No, she said, Elvis, they got to stop jailing the young Caymanian for smoking ganja because they're not going to stop it. And all the Caymanian people are doing is hardening your young children. Now, this was a judge because she was the one that recommended the court, you know, the drug court, right?
Right.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? She done that. No, that is a foreign judge. No, you mean if a foreign judge can talk to try to tell our people, this is what you're doing to your children. I have to send your children to jail. You need to change your law. I mean, the whole world is seeing this. Why can't our politics? I thought the younger politicians that they would be in because Dr. Frank was one of them that ran on it, you know, and he lost. But I can tell Dr. Frank one thing. The winds of change, the tide of change, and any politician, because I got my petition going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much signatures we got yet, because I got Knox and Cayman and my nephew Rambo, but I got 100 now came on back. And when you get 100 now came on back, things are going on. And
for those before you go, for those who don't know, what is your petition asking for?
We're asking for the decriminalization of marijuana for recreational use. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And medical. And this, we want a similar pattern. let's say Jamaica, whatever, if we can get up to an ounce or 2 ounces in your home and 5 marijuana plants or 10 marijuana plants or 3 marijuana plants, that's all that they're asking for. Now, the medical part of it, you know, that would have to be done by people that you build your nice grow houses and, like I said, get in place. That would have to be a big business aspects of it. But right now, if we decriminalize it, we can free up our prison for our young Caymanians in prison for marijuana. We got the smugglers that bring in marijuana to Cayman, doing all them fellas doing trying to make a living, you know. And if the marijuana, if it wasn't in demand that the money was here, they wouldn't been bringing it. You know, they would have been bringing coconuts or sugar or whatever.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I follow you, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. The referendum is coming up now. I don't know what the question would be, but I hope that the government would see it to say, look here, let's put would you like to decriminalize? Yes or no? But if they don't do it or they don't bring a motion when we submit the signatures we got, I can guarantee you that all 19 members next election will have to face the ganja man because the movement is alive, Dwayne. You will tell you?
Mm-hmm.
When I hear people like Dr. Steve McField saying that we need to come to the table, let me tell you something. That make Elvis Jeffrey McKeever a very happy man. Him and Israel and them, when they want to come to the table, that makes me a happy man, and it makes me proud that I am the one. Look, I taking a lot of licks, but I am pushing the cause, and I'm not giving up, my brother. Thank you, and you have a nice day.
You too, sir. Thanks for sharing. And as we pause and take a short break, hey, collect your thoughts. Take your, index finger or whatever it is that you use to dial the numbers. Maybe it's, voice command. Call us. Share your thoughts with us, because if you don't talk to us, how are we going to hear what you're saying? Stay tuned for Talk Today.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Hey, are those new glasses on Will?
Yeah, we went to Optical Outlook. Wham, bam, easy exam. Finally, an exam he could pass. And we had the glasses the next day. Easiest part of our back-to-school shopping for sure.
Book your child's eye exam today at Optical Outlook. Call 746-2020. Get half off a complete pair of glasses with any student's eye exam, now extended to September 14th. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook, located in Caymanian Village.
Terms and conditions apply.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's back. And this year, it's bigger and better than ever. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman presents PACE, the 8th annual Delano Hislop Memorial Journey for Life, 5K walk, 10K run, and introducing the all-new 15K ride event. That's right, parents, kids, young and old. Come out on Sunday, September 22nd at the all-new starting location at the all-new Jasmine Building, adjacent to Coconut Joe's parking lot. Also, participants who raise the most funds can win one of our 3 grand prizes: $250 for third place, $500 for second place, or the $1,000 grand prize. Other random prizes will be available on site. So, Cayman, it's time to get active. Sign up today at caymanactive.com/pace. Be a part of the 5K walk, 10K run, and the all-new 15K ride event. Sponsored in part by DART, CUC, Cayman Water Company, the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association, Consolidated Water, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, Water Authority Cayman, Borden Holdings, BF Insurance, Cineco, and the Maples Group.
Radio Cayman's Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio, featuring Will Sinatra. Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop, dancehall, and soca, and an entertainment trivia section.
Another proud sponsor of the Super Jam Show.
Merengue Town. Time to feel the rhythm. Time to feel the vibe. It's time for Merengue Town.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. It's Talk Today, and it's open line, and it's a Friday. And as I quite look into the calendar, it's the 13th. Now, for some of us, we look at that with a little bit of skepticism. Others go, it's just another day. Well, my prayer and petition is that it's going to be another safe, productive, enjoyable day. A day in which not only you're blessed, but through your actions, you can be a blessing to others. Now, some of you might take that on board and say amen. Some of you might roll your eyes. Hey, to each his own, They say one man's meat is another man's poison, one man's treasure is another man's trash. Hey, depends on your perspective. But I know if you share your opinion, it's just that. And we can hear what you have to say when you want to share it. So, avail yourself of the opportunities as we facilitate the opportunity for you to share your thoughts. 949-8037. 949-8037. Or toll free with the compliments of Flo. 1-800-534-8255. Now, we'll talk about a number of things that you've asked me to mention to our listeners. And let's start by one. This has to do with the issue of food security. And let me go back to it. One comment from a number of our emailers and WhatsAppers and all the others who share their thoughts via text and typing speech to text and all the others says, food security is something in this country that needs to be addressed from the perspective that if you look at how, potentially, say, a hurricane or some other natural disaster, for instance, in Florida, how that could destabilize the prices here in Cayman. Add to that climate change and its potential impact on food availability, nutrient content, the need for GMOs, the impact on price. Question, what happened to the plan to have access to Panama and South America that we started some years ago? Now, again, none of us look at these things and we don't necessarily see how important it is to do it. So, if food security is an issue you want to talk about, let's do that. Other comments from some of our listeners were talking about the whole issue of continuing the discussion, the traffic, and the woes being faced, not just by those from the eastern districts, but particularly those coming from our eastern districts, where not only our children are getting up very early in the morning to get to schools, but parents have to do the same, whether the parents are carrying their children with them as they come into work, drop them to school on the way, or whether they're leaving themselves to get to work. But also, how do we balance the need for the police to ensure that they are vigilant and on the road to make it safe with their timing of the roadblocks and the inspections and the checks? Is there an answer that you have that they haven't looked at? Maybe you want to share your thoughts with that. Some have said it's not an easy task, but is there a way to do it, and not only a more efficient way to ensure that as a society we eventually get to a point where we don't drive when we don't have a license to drive. We don't drive when our vehicles are not licensed and inspected and insured. Now, a number of us have shared publicly that it seems that people do that believing that there's no consequence, expecting that they won't be detected, and seemingly that sense of impunity and lack of accountability may be what has encouraged others. Perhaps it's also that we're developing an ethos that we can break the law and it doesn't have a consequence. Well, would that be unfortunate if that is the case? What is developing? The other topic and area of concern that some have shared is the whole issue of mortgages. Now, one lady said she's promised that she'll send through some information, and I expect to get it at some point. But she shared that she's heard Mr. Miller, referring to Mr. Ezra Miller, mention sometimes, and I think I can actually recall him saying so here as a guest on Talk Today, that within the whole idea of a mortgage, what we have in our banking system, whether it's a 15-year or 20-year or 30-year, it isn't no more than a demand loan of sorts. When you read it, it says that. It's not a fixed thing. It's not what a mortgage is. And when interest rates fluctuate, it affects our people, in a very, very, very direct and immediate way. So we talked about that if you want. But let's go to our phones. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Well,
yes, sir.
Good afternoon. That's what happens when you're standing downtown. You get the ambiance of the passing traffic. How are you doing?
Very well. And yourself, sir?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon to you and welcome back. You had been on vacation for a while.
I was out of the office for a while, yes.
Glad you're back. Okay, you're doing good.
I'm telling you, man, I'm blessed and very thankful.
Excellent. Okay. So now we will have a referendum. Obviously, you got enough people to signature the piece of paper that will kick off the referendum. So that is going to happen. We know that, yes?
It would seem that would be... But then were there any doubts that would happen in your mind?
No, there was never any doubts, because I think I could tell from day one that you had sufficient signatures to trigger it off. It just kept coming in slowly. We're 50% there, we're 65%, we're 75%, now we're at a 100%. So, and when I say we, let me not sound as if I'm coming across as if I'm associated with the elections office. That's
no. It's just a collectively. Thank you.
Collectively. So, because as a citizen of the Cayman Islands, I actually support the port. I mean, not only am I paid to say that, I genuinely feel that way, that I think the piers will make life a lot easier, and a new cargo port, we're now in 2019, we need to modernize that, so I'm all for it. But for those Caymanians who are against it, you're against the port, you're against the new piers, well, guess what? Now that there's going to be a referendum, it's going to take over 10,000 Caymanian voters to come out to sign no. If you don't want the port, this is your chance to vote no during the referendum. And if I'm not mistaken, if my percentages are correct, I might be a little off, it's going to take 10,500 and odd persons to vote no.
Because it's 50% plus one.
You think that going to happen?
Well, let me ask you then. If you were paid to say you didn't support the port, would you take on that role as well?
What I'll say is this. If I am paid to advertise or to promote a company, or if I'm paid to campaign for a cause, my heart has to be in it. So I am where I'm at. I support the port. Yes, I do. And I'm not going to change that stance. I have supported it from day one.
But...
Or do I not answer your question?
No, you did. And not... Now, you know publicly and privately my sentiments to you. And I think you are not only eloquent, intelligent, probably one of the most gifted artists that we have in this country. That first time I saw you on stage at the Harquail when you were just a mere teen, man, you're incredible, and I want our people to be championed. I also want our people to be informed and be independent thinkers, and to also be courageous and conscious to take a perspective, whether they're supporting something or they're opposing it. Do so constructively and respectfully. From the port's perspective, and I don't want you to lose your track, and I don't want you to get off if that wasn't what you intended, your support of the port, is it, you've seen it, as you said, to be an efficient, a good means. What, if any, what potential negatives do you see in the port, if any?
I'm happy to say that because the new plan has been adopted, the plan that they're going to take to build it, that is going to require less dredging, because that was a concern for many of the environmentalists, the impact on the environment. The plan that the government has chosen to go with is reduced significantly by some 30-35%, reduced dredging, because the piers are actually going to go out further in deeper water. So that makes me happy. There will be more traffic, but Grand Cayman is growing. The government seems to be happy with a larger population, so some days will be very, very congested down here in Georgetown. But I'm happy to say that the mega cruise ships will now come here, because a lot of companies are building larger vessels, and these mega cruise ships are actually bypassing us.
Yes, sir.
And they're saying they don't want to be tendered. They want the piers where they can just pull right in.
Now, with that, the government may be happy with something, but what if the people aren't? How do you balance that?
The people will have an opportunity to voice how they feel on referendum day. As simple as that.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we live in some semblance of a democracy. People will have their say on referendum day. The reason I called, Mr. Moderator, is to sort of alleviate any confusion your listeners might have in regards to September 29th. Now, on Sunday, September 29th, there are, in fact, 2 walk runs happening. There are 2 happening, and people might think, well, is it a morning or is it an afternoon? The truth is, the Deputy Governor's walk run is the morning of September 29th here on Grand Cayman.
Mm-hmm.
But in the afternoon, at 6 p.m., Sunday, September 29th, the Hope for Today Foundation will be having their 7th annual walk run. That's at 6 p.m., Sunday, September 29th, starting at Public Beach. That's a 5K walk run. So if you're a bit confused, don't be. There are 2 separate walk runs. If you're ambitious like me and energetic, let's do all 2. What do you think?
And as you probably know, the Walk for Recovery used to be in the September last day, and it used to be in the morning, but you say that's now going to be in the afternoon with the Deputy Governors occurring in the morning.
They had to make the shift because we didn't want a clash. So the DJs, which used to be in March, April, I think, is now in September, and it happens incidentally it's the same day. So put on those jogging pants and those short pants and let's get out there and walk, run with the DG, because he's raising a lot of money, the Deputy Governor, to support a lot of fine charities across Grand Cayman. And, of course, Hope for Today Foundation, their 7th annual, the Sunday evening, September 29th, will be raising funds for the Hope for Today Foundation, a halfway house providing home, refuge for those who are rehabilitating themselves back into society, coming off drugs and alcohol. So I thought I'd call to make that clarification.
Well, thank you for doing that. Very much appreciate it.
Thanks for the good work you do. Great. Bye-bye.
Thank you, man, and enjoy your weekend. Listen, that's what makes the country healthy. If we can, at the very least, have sufficient respect to allow others to share a perspective, and sometimes when we're challenged on our thoughts, to be able to respond in a respectful way. It's nothing, better than having people have an exchange of opinions and ideas. And end of the day, they can move on, and next day, well, go back at it again. Let's pause, take that break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Come on, get ready for this year's 2019 Fidelity Fun Run Series. Join us opposite John Gray High School for the first 3 Saturdays in September at 7:30 a.m. for an exciting 2-mile run. Whether you're a serious competitor looking for a fun family activity or you want to take an early stroll, the Fidelity Fun Run Series is the event for you. Strollers and pets are welcome, and we've got trophies up for grabs as well. Register today for the races on September 7th, 14th, and 21st. And get your Fun Run t-shirt. To register, visit CaymanActive.com for more information.
There are plenty of reasons to be a Logic customer. There's lightning fast internet connectivity. There's the great overall customer experience. And now you can improve your Wi-Fi connectivity with Logic Boost Wi-Fi for free. With Boost, you can extend your freedom to stream, game, and download seamlessly anywhere in your home, like your patio or your underground lair if you have one. Sign up now for any Logic Bundle package and get free Boost Wi-Fi for a limited time. Visit logic.ky for details.
Attention all gamers. Get ready for the return of the Caribbean's #1 esports event and gaming convention this September 28th and 29th.
That's right. Gamers Bay 4, now a 2-day event, going down September 28th and 29th, right here in the Cayman Islands.
If you think you have what it takes, you can compete for over $15,000 in cash and prizes. Compete head-to-head in Fortnite, Apex Legends, FIFA 19,
Here we go, the best players of the world,
and Super Smash Bros.
Special celebrity guest gamers and YouTubers. Drifter, Fangs, Queen of FIFA, and Team Martin will be in attendance.
There will be lots of free gameplay for PC gamers, console gamers, mobile gaming, and VR.
For more information and to register yourself or a team, visit gamersbaycayman.com.
Proudly sponsored by NetGeeks Media,
Mountain Dew,
C3 Pure Fiber,
Papa John's,
Department of Tourism,
Ministry of Education,
Kimpton Seafire Hotel,
Dolphin Discovery,
Cayman Turtle Setting,
Hurley's Media,
Suzuki, Margaritaville Beach Resort, and Radio Cayman.
Kind of like one surgery fits all. You're saying, that's not necessary. That's not going to be the case with me. And that's good to hear.
For the Health of It is proudly brought to you by Eating Clean. Wake back up to quality foods with eatingclean.com. That's clean with a K. EATINGKLEAN.com.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. It's open line 949-8037 or 949-6990. Of course, you can call us toll free at 1-800-534-8255 or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. A lot of numbers, but as the caller prior to the break shared, well, on the 29th there will be 2 walk runs, the DG 5K in the morning, and then the hope for today's at 6 o'clock on the same day on the 29th. Well, you can have 2 walk runs on the same day and people can participate equally. Well, you can have multiple numbers in order to access a talk show. What I say sometimes, more is more, and sometimes more only gets in the way. But if we believe in giving you option and choice, well, more is better. Less is more sometimes too, but who knows? Well, what is it you want to talk about? And it may not be any of the things that we discuss. It may be some of the things that you thought should be a greater priority. And I say this with the greatest of sensitivity. Some have shared, well, why is it that you're not looking at not just the traffic congestion and education, housing, but the whole notion of infrastructure development, and in particular, how do we address the issue of the landfill? Not spending hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, but what can we do to look at the way we are using some of the things that we're consuming? Can we change what we buy? Can we reduce the amount of things that we send into the landfill? Can we reuse some of the things instead of just dumping them? And as we look as a very, very, very seemingly simple solution that seemingly may be difficult for some of us, we have a yard. We live somewhere where there's grass clippings and tree trimmings and the like, but that all seems that to be bundled along with everything else and sent to the landfill. Is there a way that can be reused as compost? We dump it, treat it properly so that it doesn't create a nuisance to surrounding lands, and then it's used again for fertilizer. Hey, would that make a difference? Those of you who know the statistics readily can recall how much of yard waste and the like ends up in a landfill. Well, let's go to our phones. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon again, Dwayne.
Welcome back again, man. Welcome back again.
Okay. Yeah, concerned the situation with the traffic problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I spoke this morning to you all this morning on the morning show, and they need to get serious about this situation, and they need to do it as soon as possible in finding solutions to how they're going to allow so many cars into Cayman.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they are looking at it after a long period of time, a lot of these cars are going to be unrepairable, and they're just going to end up in the landfill, and we're going to be faced with the same situation we're now faced with the garbage dump. So people on work permits, well, right now I know some people on work permits that they buy one car and 5 people drive it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think and these are people that most of the time they work on different shifts, and whenever they need to go around, well, to supermarket or whatever, they use one car to go. So I think this is things government is going to have to look at, because it doesn't make sense to wait until we're faced with the same situation we're faced with now with the garbage dump, with garbage.
Right. Now, in addition to that, give us some of your other potential solutions for addressing it, so that we limit who can own a car. What is it that you think we could do? What else could we do?
Dwayne, it's going to have to be a limit to how many cars one individual is able to have.
Why?
Well, one person having 3-4 cars is just going to have to stop doing.
Why?
Because it's going to cause problems down the line. As I said before, when these cars become unrepairable, they're going to end up in a graveyard.
Okay. I hear you. Let me ask then. The person would say, well, I have 5 cars, and whether they're brand new cars or they're collectibles, whichever, but I can only drive one car at a time, so it doesn't matter if I have 1 or 50. I can only drive one car at a time.
It's not just the traffic, Dwayne.
Okay.
When these things become unrepairable, piling them up like the garbage dump, like what we have now, is going to become more a serious problem because other countries aren't going to take our garbage.
Right. And that's the second thing I want to ask you. Someone messaged in. I think it's okay. I can probably reference it. Hopefully there's no offended people in the area. I don't know because I haven't driven that way, sadly, recently. But they say this is on, I call it Town Hall Road. Is that what it's called? The road that goes from the 4-way down to the West Bay Primary School and the library, Old Bushway. So this is a picture of a car on the side of the road that's being, this is my word, deliberately, being picked to pieces. And the person has commented that we need to stop this, parking of cars along the side of the road to be scrapped. What do you think about that?
That should be stopped. Yeah, I mean, it's causing it's not safe for cars. Most seriously of all, it's not safe for cars to be like that. If someone runs off the side of the road and hits one of them, either driving a car, a motorbike, or even a bicycle, these things shouldn't be left there like that.
But let me ask, because you probably know more about cars than I do. I mean, on a car, there's a license plate, there's a VIN number that identifies the car. Should we not be able to go to a vehicle like that, whether it's on the side of the road, being picked to pieces, or whether it's being parked there because it's just left, and not identify that this car was, at least up until this point, still is registered to person A, B, or C, or company X, or what have you?
Did you say car parked there without a license plate?
With or without a license plate, because of the VIN number or with the license plate, whether it's the police, whether it's the vehicle licensing department, whether it's the Department of Environmental Health, I don't know, whoever, just be able to see that car there and recognize it's been there, it's being picked to pieces, or it's been parked there for a while for whatever reason, and find out who owns it and go to the person and say, listen, here's a ticket, or get it moved and you'll be ticketed. I mean, something.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't find out who the individual is that owns it, then just take it away and use it for scrap metal, or if you do know who it's for, warn them and let them know that they have to move the vehicle very soon because it's unsafe where it is.
Right.
First of all and most of all, and then another thing too. These Japanese cars. These Japanese aren't getting rid of those cars because they want to,
Right,
they're trying to avoid the same thing I'm telling you now, Dwayne.
Right.
A pile of cars piled up in a garbage dump, and Cayman is taking them in by the dozens.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, listen, I hear you, and I don't want to be perceived as being disrespectful, but gotta hit the news. There we go. Want to get informed? Well, stay tuned for Talk Today. Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts. Always good contribution. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service and Department of Environment are issuing a reminder to registered iguana cullers as well as members of the public that all iguana cullers who are using firearms, air rifles basically, for the purposes of the cull, are required to place signs prominently in areas where they will be discharging that firearm. Cullers using air rifles also are required to wear a high-visibility vest, which identifies them as an iguana culler, and most importantly, cullers using air rifles must have a valid firearms license issued by the RCIPS. In international headlines, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker will hold talks next week to try to break the Brexit impasse as both sides seek to avert what could be a disastrous no-deal departure. Today, Johnson said there is a rough shape of the deal to be done and that he is, quote, cautiously optimistic that a new agreement can be forged, even as officials warn against expecting any sudden breakthrough on Monday. A strike against General Motors looms large as contracts with the United Auto Workers and Detroit's 3 automakers are set to expire. The union's national agreements with GM, Ford, and Fiat Chrysler end at 11:59 p.m. Saturday, and the UAW has picked GM as its target company. That means it's the focus of bargaining, and if there are any strikes, General Motors would be the first victim. Now, it is possible that the contracts could be extended or an agreement reached, but it is more likely that 49,200 UAW members could walk out of GM plants as early as Sunday because the union and company demands are so far apart. Picket line schedules have already been posted near the entrance to a local UAW office in Detroit. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecasts, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advance notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Certainly appreciate your sentiments. As we go to our phones, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
I'm back again, Bubba. How are you doing again?
Always a pleasure, so welcome back.
Yeah, Elvis, I'm fully supporting you on that, my son, and I got some information, spoke to a few other people that there've been some initiation where they would like to see some farming being done here to cut down the cost of the medicine to begin with and manufacturing, far as that thing is concerned. So we have to get back to pen and paper and put all the rules and regulations down so that people can understand that, you can't put children in jail for doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and the way we're speaking, because all of us would still be in jail. But anyway, Elvis, I'm there with you, for sure. And the thing is, the young man that was just speaking about the traffic situation in Grand Cayman, I would like to let you know that there is an easy solution to it. Are you willing to spare me the time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would want very much for you to tell me.
All right. When you asked the gentleman about if you know anything about cars and then do a little bit more about cars, well, I'm still the person worm from Eastern Avenue Garage and well, where I make them.
Yes, sir.
As you know it. And many, many years ago, as far as a car got to the wreck point to where it could no longer be repaired, I scrapped it. And I recycled it from then and there and what have you till the carcass got to a point. And at one time, I said the thing for us to do with those old carcasses, because we have dying reefs, and we're looking all over the place for diving sites and wrecks and what have you, is to remember that the cars are made out of several different types of material, but among them all is a thing called iron. Iron is a fella that likes to go right back to its own oxidation. So Mount Rushmore is one big problem, and all of them old iron cars that you see out there and what have you, if you burnt them, you could build a reef. And I'll tell you why I can swear to this, because that reef is alive today. Long before I was a child, a young fella, my little garage was down on the point. And so sure enough, there were some cars that couldn't do this, that, or the other. And so happens that the old wreck that was in the back there, we were burning up and they caught a fire. And I took the little old bulldozer and I pushed them off in the iron shore right onto the depth where they could rust. Today, my dear friend, I begged them a long time ago to try to help me make that a protected area where nobody can go on it. You got every kind of fish in the sea, lobsters and all that living around that because it creates a reef. So we can just, even if we got to do it time by time to get rid of them, that's one way. So we can save our reefs by using those things in a proper manner. But to solve the traffic problem in Grand Cayman right now, man, the first thing is a transit system that is running on a schedule, a bus-type system. It would be much better if we could go overhead with a monorail and get people coming from East End that's headed for Georgetown, get them there, so and relieve the traffic. The other problem that we are having here is by every foreigner that comes in here on a work permit, even if they're for 3 months, to buy the car. The next thing you know, it's an old car. There's no insurance on it, and no license on it. They're running here and there with it, and they're gone, and they leave it along the side of the road to rot. And that's our biggest problem right there. We have too many people driving a single vehicle going nowhere all at the same time instead of having a proper unit to where we can move at a space. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. And I hear you. Now, two things I may ask you. One with relation to the monorail. We'll come to that second. But first, for those who are listening and they were to hear the comments from people, even the one you just mentioned, that, you're here for 3 months or you're here on a work permit, you are not going to be allowed to own a car. They would say, but that infringing people's rights and their freedoms and their whatever. How do you respond to them saying, well, yeah, it might be, but that's just the way it is? Like it or lump it.
Well,
I mean, how do you respond?
My dear friend, have you ever been to Bermuda?
Well, there are other countries as well, but yes.
All right. Well, in many, many other countries, my dear friend, when it comes on littering the roads and that kind of stuff with all kind, I've been through this. I'm a mechanic, and I still sell parts off of cars that I got in my yard.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known that with cars because anybody in the block need a part, the first person they're going to come look for is first thing. And if I don't have it, I go into the dump and find it.
Right.
So recycling is the first thing. What is left of the carcass, you crush it up, you burn it, and you put it in an area. You talk about building a dock, where they could get material for that. All they got to do is to do that. You don't have to do no dredging. They could just burn those things, mix them up with cement, and put a dock out there that wouldn't. You understand where I'm coming? There's so much thing you can do. It's not garbage. It is recyclable material.
Right. It can be reused,
and anything that, exactly. Now they're screaming all over the world, we can't get rid of styrofoam, we got to get rid of plastic bags, and what have you. Those things are not directly biodegradable. They can be burnt and made into fuel. Mm-hmm. But burning iron, it takes a little while to do that,
Right.
At the same time, you can melt it down and make reinforcement rods to put into your pier.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's so much usable that far as getting rid of it is concerned, but I'm still concerned about the massive amount of vehicles on this road.
Yeah. I had a conversation several months ago. I was trying to think how long, because sometimes it seems like a day is like a year and it goes so fast. And there were a number of people who originally were from other nations now who've been here for a while. And they both shared. One was probably from a country, or is originally from a country that we would look at as probably a developing nation, as it were. And she was sharing that she would never back home be able to get a car. Not just because of the financial situation, but a car wasn't something that you had. The other one, he said, he's from, I guess, one of the places that would be considered a first world country. He lived in one of those big cities that we probably all recognize from TV and being famous for some reason. He said, but I live there and I don't have a car, not only because it's expensive to own, to park, but I don't necessarily need a car because I can move about. And as you were sharing, I'm thinking, why is it that we can't work towards this thing as you share? But secondly, a monorail or a mechanism for public transport. Do you think that we have, one, the expertise, and two, the financial discipline to do this thing so that it doesn't burden the country for generations to come?
Exactly. We don't have that. Remember, Grand Cayman is so small, and it's only that much that is slightly above sea level. Where I'm sitting right now under the green almond tree and looking out here and watching my buddy's dog catch those iguanas, he's well trained to do that, I tell you. And another thing I will solve that problem is you ought to take all the people that's culling, make them get a little thing, grind up that stuff there and feed the dogs and the cats with it. We won't have no more iguana problems, but I will tell you that.
Yes, sir.
But anyway, as I'm saying, I looked at so many infrastructures here because the world over, we don't want to stop a person from being able to get from here to there.
Right.
I mean, and I mean, when it comes to vintage vehicles and all that kind of stuff, or owning so many vehicles and stuff like that, yes, you're right. I could own as many vehicles as I want. I can only drive one at a time.
Right.
But are there other vehicles I have a piece of garbage disgracing the vehicles, or are they something to show? And you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Depending on what you're doing with the thing. But of course, now the thing that is killing us more than anything else, right now as I see it, because up to when it was Wednesday, I think, I was looking for an old Rocky, an 88 Rocky.
The Hatsu Rocky?
Lo and behold, yeah, you know that I had so sweet little fella there, best little guy in the world. I love them, and I also love my little Daihatsu van. You know, that little square fella, which is what I have at home now. And I'll tell you one thing, I love them so much.
Yeah.
Because, you get $5 worth of gas in him and you run into for 2 weeks. And that kind of stuff,
Yep.
And at the same time, I like to convert that into a little electric motor. That's about all it takes, man, to get you up and down. So looking forward for electric vehicles, I praise the government for that direction.
Right.
Not only is it going to reduce the expenses of moving up the road and what have you and down. But at the same time, like I said, to solve this problem, it's going to take a while now, mind you, because of the way things are, we're going to have to put in place, look, if you're here on a 1-year permit, you can't own a vehicle 3 months or whatever. You can't just go out and do somebody $500 and get an old vehicle and drive it all over the place, no insurance, no and that kind of stuff, because you have so many vehicles still registered, even though Austin initiated that come in by November now, make sure we're not going to charge you back license, but either get the vehicle to the dump or come and license it. It's one of the two, but we're still getting them to the dump, and we got to take them to the dump. But the problem is we can use those.
Yes, sir.
But of course, when you get them there, employ a bunch of these young fellas and teach them, look, rip that thing completely apart and not but a shell. Put glass here, put plastic there, put this there, put that there. What's left, throw that like iron in the crusher. Crush him up, take it to an area, burn it, and then carry it to our dying reefs and put a couple of them there, a couple of them there, what have you. And I'll tell you one thing, we'll be doing something good for our country. It's something that I have proven.
Well, hopefully we tap into your expertise and at least try to be willing to explore some options. Hey, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, well, anyway, like I said, we have some solutions to every problem. All we got to do, put down the damn cellular phone, activate Section 119 of our Constitution, get your little 10 members together, let them sit down underneath the tree, talk all about the problems, come to the point, take it to your representative and say, go back to the house and do this.
Right. Be more actively involved. Well, blessings to you again, sir. Hopefully we hear from you as often as you're willing to call. And with that, we'll take our final break from the program, take a couple of calls when we come back, and we're on our way well into the weekend. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore.
Always separate debris from household garbage after a hurricane hits. Debris includes roofing materials, downed tree branches, and metals. All items of debris must be placed in separate piles to the front of the property or at a side that is easily accessible to collection trucks. Debris must be placed in a location that will not cause obstruction to roadways or come in contact with electrical lines. For more post-hurricane waste management tips, visit the DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for the 7 a.m. news, brought to you by Cayman National Bank, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
The Breeze Fusion is back Saturday, November 2nd.
Bigger and better.
Now featuring a 5K walk run and a 10K run for half marathon trainers. Join the fun and help raise funds for the Central Scranton Park and the NCVO. Save the date or register now at CaymanActive.com or at Radio Cayman Studios. Registration is only $15 if registered by September 30th. And all early registrants enter to win a Cayman Airways voucher. The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run. Saturday, November 2nd.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. It is a fantastic Friday. Open line here on Talk Today as we go to our phones. Good afternoon, you're on Talk Today.
Hello.
Hey, welcome back, man. What's up?
Yes, I'm Rambo, man. Yeah, I heard on man got call in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Pastor Rams, right? And I learned a lot from them, right? A lot of awesome things. And both of them, right? How I heard the put itself, right? It's stunning.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fundamental logic, man. Solution. All you have to do is improvise it. Simple. You feel me, right?
Right.
What you talking about the sharp topic now, right? Because like, it's a taboo. Or if you involve with it, it's a stigma. You understand? Places like Portugal, Sterling, they analyze that. So they're bold enough to analyze it. And they pull the plug. Right? No harder way, you have to pull it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They solidify themselves in a mechanized way. And it's feasible. Now Portugal, they legalize everything, you know. And my uncle have this petition now, right? Clearly clarify them, right? Simple. And like I said again, this morning, stone by shoulder, it's accumulating, you know? And like I say again, 2021, I hope the future candidate, who they are or whatever. But I call for brewing, Venezuela, because boy, we can't be like a police state. They started me becoming like China, like I said this morning, they be in China, huh? For herbs. You know what I'm saying? Places like that, they put you debt now. Huh? Police state. So I say, so like I said again, we in modern times, contemporary era, right? It's starting, I don't be like a broken record over and over, or like a CD skipping over and over. You know what I mean? But I didn't get my best out there.
Yeah, man.
But like I say again, 3 months ago, less than 3 months ago, we on Twitter, and the world revolving and it's done the same way. So we got to wake up, get another drive, and do what I do. To better the country. So we can't be penalizing people, zero tolerance, on a herb. Right? For decades, darling, I've been going on decades now. Right? And I can exemplify I won one too. Like I said this morning, I said I spent a grand trip in Ramsey Hill, right in Ramsey Hill. She was down with me, but she got hesitant and reluctant with me at the time. Yeah? But still, you need to, so everybody bought a record, you pardon and expunge. I pay that $750 fine, and that money should be reimbursed back to me.
Yeah.
It's big seriously.
Yeah, man. If I could ask you, and I was thinking as you were sharing how to ask, so you choose to respond if you feel. I'm cautious because I like numbers to be, from an objective, sort of verifiable perspective. But if you personally had to gauge the percentage of our population who you think smoke or use ganja, marijuana, cannabis, or what have you, you think it's more than 50%, less than 10%? I mean, what do you think?
Sterling, all the 100%, right? At least 65%, right? 35 remaining that involved with it. They didn't endorse it or promote it at all.
Right.
And obviously, people on work permit, immigrants, hello, the ratio is 4 to 1 to locals, and hello, more than the high life. Yeah?
Yeah, but that's the thing I want to ask, because
it's on it, and if people came out, like the position, right? I got one that carries myself personally, right? And some people that they think time and time again, right? That's how they're going on, and they're not busy with it. They're involved with that. They don't want to do with it, but they know it needed. It's a necessity. Yeah? And one position I left my forces, the owner, now time and time again, he sees me, how they're going on.
Right.
I left that one there, right? And I tell him, boy, all gradually picking up, accumulating.
Yeah. Well, when you have chance, if it's not a great imposition, I would like to read it. I haven't consciously sat and looked at it, but I would like to have a read through it just to see for myself exactly how it's worded. If that's okay, maybe at some point between now and the end of the month we can cross paths.
Look here, Monday lunchtime. If you're flexible, available, I call in, I read it thoroughly for you.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Yeah, man.
The version, right? My uncle, right? I respect him, son. Like, Sterling, when I was 12 years old, like, tell me, fundamental, intellectual, get involved with sports and do your thing. Right? Yeah. And he's on fishing thing. But like I said again, like I said this morning, and yesterday, I tell you, the UK now, the whole EU laugh at them. You understand? They come and they're amazed, conundrum, they never go, they lost. Yeah? And came on now, the spot hemisphere, you take care of the island, slowly freeing up yourself now. Yeah? That's so listen. The marijuana, right, the herbs thing, listen, like I said this morning, the carboot thing, 95% of those artists, musicians, lyricists, they do ganja, this kind of genre of music, right? Or era.
I hear you. But do you think that maybe for some people, that for them, when they smoke, it's more of a fad? What's the better word to use? They do it and not really appreciate that potentially there could be some ill effects of it. Just like, and I think of a drug, whether it's tobacco or alcohol, to me they're all drugs. There's no distinction. Right?
Like I said again, right? You see, those scientific studies recently, in the last 5 years, right? those herbs, they force grow, artificial chemicals in enhancements.
Mm-hmm.
You have side effects. Jamaica, you drop that seed, sun, rain, you get your fertilizer, manure, that's it. Good to go.
All right. Well, listen, man, I certainly appreciate it. Any final thoughts?
I just go by about cool, enjoy the weekend, and like I say, start on Monday, I'll be there after all that.
Yeah, man. Still want to read it myself, but thank you for doing that, for that offer. Look forward to talking to you on Monday. Have a good weekend.
Cool, man. Respect.
All right. Bless. Wow. You know what? I trust and pray we all will have the same perspective of being grateful for the time we have, to be gracious with the time we have, and to be willing to share with others as generously as we can. Sometimes we are remiss to look at things as positively as we can, to act as productively as we should, and to be as appreciative. But hey, we don't always appreciate another man's perspective simply because we can't see life through his lens. And when I say his, hope you would also recognize I mean hers as well. It's a Friday. I love Fridays, as I do Thursdays and Wednesdays and Tuesdays and Mondays and Saturdays and Sundays and all the other days, because as we speak English, if it's ending in a way, it's a good day. I invite you to come back Monday for Talk Today. Certainly join our good program in the mornings for the record, and be a part of all things that are productive and constructive. Be positive. Don't look through things with a lens that you can't see the reality. But even if it looks like it's going to be not in your favor and someone else can benefit, don't be unwilling. Don't be, so, spiteful that you're not willing to see another man share in his success and his achievements. Maybe if we would be a little bit more supportive and cooperative, and if we can't, get that now for ourselves, we can celebrate another's success. Let's recognize that today, it may not be your turn, but tomorrow you might wish it wasn't either. 949-837, 949-6990. Of course, there's a toll-free call with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-TALK that allows you access to our programs. I ask that you have a safe and productive, very, very, restful, but also a very, very appreciative weekend. And be mindful that, as our callers have shared, there are friends, family, former colleagues and co-workers, and even people we don't even know, but we know that they're experiencing potentially something worse than we did 15 years ago. So as we remember those in the Bahamas, recognizing that some of you are following the weather and reminding us that there are a couple of other things out there that could potentially come this way as well, wreak havoc for those who have been affected. God forbid, make it worse for them or for ourselves. So can we help? Let's do so. Let's find a way. We can not always constantly agree, but we can disagree respectfully. Until Monday, be blessed.